Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbprou.com.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier, and excited to hang out with you once again this evening. So, as you know, each week we bring in a special guest and really focus on different leadership topics, because at the end of the day, as a business owner, your business can only go as far as you can take it. And developing your leadership skills just prepares you to be able to take your organization further and more successfully, faster and easier. So we've been doing this for over 3 years now, which is kind of interesting because it's gone fast, but I enjoyed it a lot. So I guess time goes fast when you're having fun. And tonight we're really going to focus on our topic, which is how to drive greater success now and in the future. So, as a leader, your job is to drive success in the company, but how do you do that? Um, you know, we're going to talk about, sort of how you do that. And one of the key things um, it's one thing to be successful for a short period of time, but in business, you want to drive success for the long term and planning and strategizing for the long term. And one of the keys to that is being aligned, having everyone in your organization aligned. So we're going to talk about what that is, how you do that, and really excited about having my guest, Skye Logan, because he's had several businesses and does investing in businesses. So he has a great perspective on that from different angles. So good evening, Skye. How are you doing tonight?
Absolutely fantastic. Thanks for having me on this evening.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us. Always love to have great guests on, and I'm really looking forward to chatting, learning more about you, and sharing.
Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. Me too. I'm excited for this evening.
Okay, excellent. So before we get started, if you could take a few minutes, talk a little bit about your journey. Talk about how you got to where you are, and then about where you are. Take a few minutes, and then we'll get started with the questions and answers.
Yeah, great. I can do that. So it all started when I was born, right? So to kind of give a fast overview, I was a latchkey kid, grew up in the Ozarks. I was a Duke boy, raised by a single mom quite a bit. As siblings, had to raise ourselves. Grew up on a bit of a farm for quite a bit of the time. I like to say I was last of my generation to know how to milk a goat or a cow, and had to, when grandma wanted chicken on the table, you had to go lob its head off and put it on the table type of thing. So I grew up in that upbringing, running around the mountains, which I really loved. I loved growing up in that environment, being able to work with my hands and having the freedom to run around as a kid and get hurt and get scratched up and blah, blah, blah. At 17, lot of stuff happened in between there. But at 17, me and a buddy moved to California in search of, as Van Halen and a bunch of other guys said, in search of California girls, and moved out there as boys, and was there for 25 years. So I'm glad I grew up that way, as opposed to growing up in an urban environment and moving to the rural. It doesn't quite work out. So I'm glad I had the freedom to move around and things like that, and how it did happen. But then grew up, then as a teenager and a young man, and starting a family, various things like that. Grew up in an urban environment, and but being a single parent for quite a while, there wasn't a whole lot of money on the table, and a lot of successful people. And Andrew, you and I were talking and stuff, and we were talking about paper routes. We were talking about, we don't get to do that kind of stuff anymore. It's like, helicopter parents or whatever. You're too scared, and your kid. My parents had no idea where I was most of the time. You're just on your bike and no idea where in the town you were. You just had to be home by, when the street lights came on, kind of thing. But, I had to wake up at 4:35 in the morning, and my mom taught me at a very early age. This is one of the vital things I learned. Son, you can have anything you want out there. You just have to go get it. And I really just took that as a, you and I and successful people of the world are always trying to figure out what the key datums are in our head, the things that we're absolutely going to operate off of. What is our blueprint? What are the things around? And, and I took that as, man, that's absolutely something I can operate off of. So from there on in, you're just working as a young kid, a paper route, 12 plus, etc. And I remember at times things were tough, and the pride that I had in being able to give my mom, and it must have hurt her, but having to borrow money or, things like that sometimes, but the pride I had as a son being able to do that. And that taught me another thing, this pride. Work, you have this money, this abundance, and I didn't really need it, but the pride of me being able to have it, to give it to someone else, was a lesson I learned really early on. So long story short, California, just that whole scene out there for quite a while. Got involved in the tech scene back in the early internet days, 94, 95. Took a company, it did pretty well in a partnership. It got a little caustic. It was one of, you and I are going to talk more about this, but the lessons you learn, when you reach a goal, you learn something from that achievement, and you either achieves that thing, whatever it is, the target, or it's a failure and you come back from it and you learn from it. So you're either going to get some kind of, I consider it a success either way, this achievement of the goal, realization of it, or what you actually realize what you did wrong. Anyways, from this partnership, it went really, really bad. And anyways, we parted ways. I did really well for the next 13 years. I just pretty much a full-time volunteer basis because I've always liked a lot of hard work. Was raised very, very religious boy, Eagle Scout, doing things in Scouts, doing this, giving back to the community, etc. So anyways, I love doing that. It was like one of my favorite times in my life, is just doing that, not having attention on money and achieving things and all this, other goals that, people, put in front of you that you're supposed to be chasing. But anyways, did that for quite a while. Long story short, got into real estate. After that, actually no real estate at that point. I got into, helped design and own and operate a inpatient holistic drug and alcohol detox. Built that up to 3 facilities, did absolutely fantastic on that. That specialized in pharmaceutical detox, had several medical doctors on the staff, et cetera, and did really well. Went my own way on that. From that partnership and into real estate, mortgage, did mortgages for quite a while. Then into real estate, doing a lot of some multifamily unit stuff, raising funds for these commercial properties, then mainly residential in the real estate industry and real estate brokerage. So I've always done a lot a lot of stuff in real estate, all kinds, a lot of door-to-door work. Helped start a solar business actually one time. I've done a lot of funny things. People, how do you have time to do all this stuff? And like, I don't know. You just do it. On top of, my wife and together, we're a blended family, but we have 6 kids together. So between family time and work time, and you just want to do stuff, projects. You just the excitement and the verve of life, right? And
So you mentioned a few interesting things. Definitely growing up, it's a little bit of a different era, and you don't get the opportunity to do as many different things when you're young. So, I think that's key to both of us. So I know you've had several businesses, but talk a little bit about what you're doing now, because I think that that'll be it's pretty impressive, what you've done and kind of what you're going to do in the process of doing.
Yeah. So what I'm doing now is, again, it's a good hour, 2-hour show just on that. A long story short is I got tired of trying to do my philanthropic, humanitarian, disaster relief, et cetera, after work, after family time. It just left me with such a small bit of time. So last year, I really kind of sat back and it's all about lifestyle design, which we'll talk about a little bit later, that I think should be in school. That should be like success and purpose. What is you've mentioned integrity and alignment. I think you have to have that for yourself, very well defined. And I don't think none of us really start hitting that to our 40s, kind of really figure that out. But anyways, last year I kind of really hit this point, like, what, this just isn't working. This like trying to doing all the work, projects, real estate business, killing it, making tons of money, family time, and then just leaving my heart work. Like I said, I like to call it heart work. I wasn't being fulfilled. So I was being successful, but I was not fulfilled. Right. And I think that is a horrible way. I started looking at that throughout my life and going, wait a minute, if I do the next 30 years like this, to me, that is going to be a failure.
Okay. No, yeah, definitely. So you also talked about you learn a lot in your failures as well as your successes. And, one of my friends used to say, there's really only 2 ways to learn. One way is to go learn from others that have expertise in what you do, and the other way is to lose money. So you can't lose money forever, but you do learn a lot.
Yeah, I'm losing you a little bit, Andrew.
Okay, all right. So, not the sound?
Yeah, the sound just a little.
Okay, all right. So let me move my mic closer. So, we talked about sort of where you are now, and one of the key things we talked before about is sort of your mission and your vision, and becoming very clear about it was extremely valuable for you. So I like to sort of define things before we dig into them. So what do you see as what a mission is and what a vision is, based on sort of your the way you look at it and the way you do it and help other people do it?
Yeah, that's everyone's got that mission statement, and what they're going to do, that with the direction they're going to be where they're heading, but the why. To me, it's the greatest thing to understand is your why, right? Like exactly, what are you doing? Why? It's not only, the 7 steps, the 7 whys, right? I can't remember the name of the book, but it was such a fantastic drill to ask yourself why. Okay, why am I doing this? Oh, I want to make some money. Okay, why? Okay, I want to make money so I can support my family. Okay, why? And you just really bring that down 7 levels so you can have a deeper understanding of the purpose and the reason. And when it talks about vision and when it talks about mission statements, I like to understand, like, for me, purpose and defining what that purpose, why you are doing what you are, why philanthro investors. Okay, I moved over my entire career and everything to philanthro investors. I'm utilizing capital and deploying it for philanthropic purposes to better the planet. Okay, why am I doing that? So that's what, at least to me, just comes down to absolute purpose for myself, purpose for the company. Why do we exist?
Okay. So 7 whys. Okay. And no, that's a great point. Just getting as much clarity as you can. Before we go too far, I'm just going to share a quick video about the Small Business University, because that's sort of why I do what I do. So
Great.
we'll be back talking small business with Skye Logan.
Do you own your business, or does it own you? Is your business growing, and are you making enough money? As a business owner, there are so many things you need to know to become more successful. Hello, my name is Andrew Frazier, the Business Growth Pro and CFO. I created the Small Business Pro University for you. Small Business Pro University has self-paced, dynamic, multimedia learning experiences created by more than 20 instructors who are business owners just like you. Small Business Pro University will empower you to become a masterpreneur by learning the secrets to creating a successful enterprise, to go from working in your business to working on your business. Take advantage of our strategic coaching program, or just simply choose the courses that you need. At www.sbprou.com, we will empower you to thrive and not just survive, and make more money in any business environment.
Okay, welcome back. I'm here talking small business with Skye Logan. We're chatting about really how to drive success in your business now and in the future. And we're talking a little bit about mission and vision. And like you said, every organization has them, but unless you really do them right, a lot of organizations don't live them. So can you talk a little bit about how you can create a vision and a mission that really drives your success? Because I think that most businesses have it, but it doesn't have the impact it can.
Yeah, that is a serious conversation, and I have spent years and years and paid tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars to mentors on that subject. Vision, mission, purpose, aligning not only myself, but being the key man. You really have to have that very well defined for yourself, I think. So everything that I have offloaded any of my other projects that do not align to what my personal development that I have done, and made sure that everything is in alignment, because that's where you get the most velocity and the most power, right? All vectors aligned. And that's the same thing within a corporation. I have a lot of portfolio companies, no matter, and it's all constantly growing. So the landscape in 3 to 5 year period will be 20, 30, 40 corporations across the globe that I have to have CEOs in place. Well, each one of those CEOs, that's how I'm able to get things done. That's how good. I see a problem. I solve the problem. I start handling the problem myself, and I start writing up the policies, procedures, the mission, the vision. Is this actually going to get market traction? And start doing that. And as I'm laying that all out, I find that perfect person that aligns to that, right? The person who aligns to me, that I have complete trust in, which is pretty easy. I always lean heavy into trusting first, overly trust first, until they just really can't, even way past when they don't think they're going to give up, but keep at it. And just, it's that intention that they're going to make it, intention that et cetera. And things come off really, really well that way. But again, that CEO has to be in alignment, the policies, procedures, operate everything for myself and the vision that's being put down. And even from the founder, any of the founders that I work with, it has to be in alignment. So I do want to clarify that, because it's something we're going to talk about, and it's really difficult to figure out what that mission and vision is. But I think that individuals has to align, because I've had a corporate mission statement, corporate vision, corporate strategic planning. I've seen hundreds of pages of documents on strat planning, and the individual, the key man is not aligned to it. It just doesn't go.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, definitely, it's not just for you in the business. I was just recently working with a client on developing theirs, and it was a process. But what the good thing was, we sort of involved the whole company in the process. So
Nice.
the CEO and his directs worked on some overriding. We brought the managers in and had each of them come up with what they felt the company was, and then everybody came up with the top 3, and then at their town hall they gave everybody a survey on the top 3 to figure out who liked what the best. So definitely, it's something that everybody in your company should know about and understand. So can you talk a little bit about, how, like, the devil's always in the details. And, it's one thing to have an idea or a goal, but it's another thing to actually implement successfully. So within your organizations, what did you do to implement your mission and your vision?
How do we implement that? Is that what?
Yeah. How did you implement it? How did you communicate it to people? And what was your experience doing that and building that for your organization?
Yeah. So I love the drill that you were talking about, and I have done that. And my experience in doing a similar type of thing is it's very eye-opening. You realize, like, oh my gosh, like everyone just split eyeballs. Everyone thinks you're doing something different, so going in and what is our mission statement? Surveying them. What is our vision? What is this company's vision, or what do you envision this company's vision should be? Where should we be heading in 1 year? Where do you think we should be heading, in 3 years, 5, 10, etc. And you get some really interesting answers, and you realize, wow, I, as an executive, as a CEO, as a founder, as whatever, have not communicated to my team what we are doing. The team does not know what everyone is doing, does not understand what we are doing. And it's very eye-opening, and you have to get everyone aligned, because otherwise it's a football team that has no idea. It's the quarterback thinks it's one play and the tight end's going the opposite direction. That kind of scene is happening. And you realize, okay, communication is a key ingredient of an executive, and you have to constantly be communicating the goals, where we're heading, and making them part of it. Like what you said, making them part of that create. Because in the end day, I can't hold on to it too long. You have to let them run with it, trust that they will take it there. Because quite often, and I'm sure you're the same way, you've started out with an idea, but it completely transforms by the market or by the group itself, or both, into something completely different. You would have never even gotten it there. So I love seeing that. So I just let it run. And so how I communicate that, it has to be in writing, has to be in all policy hats. in every single one of the hats and policies and procedures of every single person, every employee hat. And it's posted broadly. Right now, my corporation this one is designed to be a remote company. We're just kind of spread out around the globe, centered here in Puerto Rico where I'm at. But so it's kind of hard. I don't have an office. I don't have a coffee space to have all my employee, not only the workers' comp stuff posters posted, but I can't have my org chart. I can't have my mission, vision. I can't have all the key strat plans being posted, unfortunately. But I have an actual spot for that. And everyone has their ERP that they operate with, whether or just simply good, fine, just Google Drive or whatever. And it's a shared folder. That's where people get to see that. And I have a hatting officer that does checkouts on everyone and make sure that they're getting through their updated policies. Anytime that I issue policies, directives, make sure that it's checked out on, so they understand any changes in procedures, and various things like that. So,
Okay, no, definitely that makes a lot of sense. One of the things they say is you can't over communicate. But usually most people are under communicating and, running into just an understanding that people at the lower levels may have no clue what the mission is, and having to do the outreach. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so what was the thing that he used to do to keep the students I don't know if you remember, to make sure everybody sort of understood or was on the same page?
I don't remember.
Okay, well, he used to make people sing the school song on demand. So everybody in the whole school had to know the song, and whenever they were asked, they had to sing it. So your mission should be the same way. Every single person in the organization should know your mission. If you ask them, because most organizations, you ask 10 different people, you get 10 different missions, and then how can you be aligned?
Yeah, that's right. And as you said, the communication, you can't. I have time and time again have corrected myself. Especially in this day and age, there's lots of distractions out there, and you really have to all the way to the lowest part of your org chart. You have to communicate, because it just gets diluted, and you have to make sure. I personally make sure I have a personal open line to all of anyone within any organization. So there is no dilution. It's like the telephone drill. I don't want to have to tell an SVP down to a VP, down to director, down to, and then the guy at the other end hears peanuts, when that's absolutely not what I said.
So, yeah, definitely, as things go, even 1 or 2 levels, it can change significantly.
Yeah.
So now, we talked a little bit about posting and putting things in writing, and I think that is a big challenge for a lot of business owners, because most business owners don't even have a business plan in writing. So how was, now that's what you see, but when you're coming up, were you always doing that stuff, or is that something you evolved and learned how to do over time?
No, yeah, definitely trial and error. I do not have. I went to college, but basically to party. UCSD. I knew the girls' dorm more than I did any classroom. So I am just trained on the street, as they say, but I made a lot of mistakes, and I wish I would have done, obviously, a lot of some different things differently, but definitely trial and error. But at the same time, I knew pretty early on that, you got to have a plan, you got to have it in writing, and I was intelligent enough to know that, okay, I don't like stuff in my head, and I learned very early on not to trust my memory, because you just forget stuff, you get too excited, and it just la 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 la. So I've been journaling since 1984, so I'm very good at writing, and put it down. So that's the same thing I apply not only to myself, but all any employees, any of my corporations that I've run, that I have to put it in writing. So, and how you do that, it's changed. I mean, the internet now and everything, and now it's not brick and mortar. Used to you had a brokerage, and you could see people, and I could bring people in my office and put the binder down on the desk and open it up and have a conversation. But everything's digital, everything's Zoom meetings and various things. So I found that increasing that communication and that open channel to everyone, it makes them feel safe, because I absolutely know when your team, when your staff feels threatened, when they feel endangered, weird things start happening. And you can see it in the stats and the KPIs that you measure. Bring up all your TV screens with all your KPIs for all your departments and all your divisions and sections, and you can start seeing when things are, kind of getting a little weird. So you want to go in and personally check it out. Personal inspection, personal conversations, nothing replaces. And they love when you come down and you have interest. Like, how is it going? Like, what's happening? What's it going? Any changes going on? Is there, you're happy, and not only you're looking, not listening only, you're just looking. You have to know the scene, like an old captain of a ship. You have to know every single creak in the boat, so when something's awry. So nothing replaces that. And it makes you overworked for sure, but it makes them happy. When they never see you, you're so disconnected, and they just start feeling dangerous. And when things start changing, they're like, "Oh my gosh, what's happening?" And so.
Okay. No, that's what we used to call in the Navy management by walking around, and
there you go,
getting in front of people, because when like you said, when they don't have information, people tend to assume the worst, and then good things, bad things start happening. So now one of the challenges a lot of organizations have is motivating people. And what do you do to motivate your team? And what are some of the key things to being able to implement it successfully?
Insouciance, man. I just let them play games. You just have to let them have a fun time. And maybe being a country boy, I guess I like everyone to have fun around me, and that includes my staff. So I like the managers. I like them proposing games. I like to know there is games. There's targets going on constantly, because to me, I get bored. Like, oh my gosh, this is the only reason I'm doing this is to hit this target. Like, that's not fun. And any of my partners have always known, man, if something's not going well, just give Skye a game, and it'll happen. It just brings me more energy, more excitement. So I noticed the same thing with with staff, that if it's too ho-hum and it's just boring, and everyone's, so to speak, sitting around the copier with their coffee, and it's just, another day, time to make the donuts kind of thing. Man, that's a horrible way to run your company. And having that kind of energy in your company is not what I like to look for. I have to have a high energy. I have to have exciting. I have to know that my individual staff, every single section, has a goal, has KPIs well defined, policies well defined. Everyone knows what they are doing. They know what the next person down the line from them are doing on the assembly line, where the product's coming from. Everyone knows exactly what's happening, what everyone's supposed to be doing, and there is goals and there's targets. right? Couldn't find daily, but daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly targets, yearly, the vision, the long term. Where are we going in 5 years, people? And they have some stake in the game. I love equity. I love giving up equity. I love giving up, rev share. I love giving up these things that people, they like, man, this is my company. Yeah, your company. This is your company. What do you think needs to be happening to your company? Kind of conversation. And it completely changes the responsibility level from, oh, I'm a victim, like, oh, you just give me orders and I'll go do it. Like, no. That's not no. Every single person in this area is an executive. I expect you to like execute and to lead. You're a leader. And so how are you going to lead your department, your section to do the targets, right? You help lay out the targets. We did the planning every quarter. We did the planning. You helped. I didn't set the targets. You set them. I have aligned the entire company to your production targets. So how, what's the barriers you're running to, kind of a SWOT analysis, what are you running into, et cetera, et cetera. Is it personal? Is it work? So, but yeah, institutions, you like games, production games, small games, big games, any kind of game definitely makes it a little bit less mundane.
Okay, no, that's cool. I might have to come work for you. No. Games are fun, actually. I was at a conference for Black entrepreneurs today down at the Meta headquarters in New York City, and Facebook. Nice. And part of it, they had us put on the glasses and play virtual reality stuff, which was pretty cool.
You got to try on the new Quest 3 or what?
I think so. So that's cool. But doing games, even just doing something different. They did a study in a manufacturing place a long time ago, and they just changed the light bulbs and made it brighter, and productivity went up. So sometimes it's just doing something different makes a difference. Now, you were talking about how, pretty much everybody in the company has goals, and it aligns all the way down. That sounds kind of like OKRs. Not familiar if you're familiar with that methodology, or that's what you used and why you did it.
I'm not familiar with it, but I like the sound of it.
Okay. So I think they were developed or first really utilized by Andy Grove, CEO of Intel, who really made Intel what it is. But they basically, everybody had an objective, and they had 3. So O for objective, and then K is key results. So everybody from the CEO down. So basically, the CEO's key results, he has his objective for the company. His key results sort of surround his reports objective, and then it goes all the way down. So, and all the way through the organization, and they let everybody see everybody else's. So that really helped keep everything aligned, because everything was based on the 3 key results that he had and broken out from there. And
I like it. Yeah, I have very well defined where everyone can see several things, more than most people probably, but obviously their duties, their exact duties, but their statistics. Good. What are you producing? What's the KPIs, or I call them stats or statistics that you're producing? Valuable final products, right? It's well defined and cleared up. Every single person knows what their VFP is. Not only just your product. Good. I'm making a widget. I'm passing it to that guy right there, and he does his change to it. But good. What's my VFP? And the promotional actions of your position. What exactly, how do you, here's a poor quality example of your product being done, and here's a higher example, right? So there's promotional actions of every single position, and that's known and visible on my org chart for anyone to see. Even my own, they can see mine. I can see what my COO's is. The guy at the very bottom, the janitor, can see what the COO's is, and they know whether he's producing it or not because they see what he's doing, right? There's no mystery.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's vital that everyone in the team knows what the other team members are doing, right? So
Definitely.
yeah, so it
And
sounds like that OKRs, the objectives and key results, similar to that,
yeah,
maybe.
you came up with it yourself independently. uh, but no, I mean that makes a whole lot of sense. And one of the key things is in most organizations, people in the organization don't even really know or aren't really shared with them what a good job is. Most people tend to want to do a good job, but there may not be clarity around that. But given what you're doing, that helps with clarity a lot. Um, you know, one of the things actually, um, do a quick commercial. Um, I wrote a book called The Masterpreneur Playbook, which really lays out the 5 key steps to going from startup to scaling your business. And um, you know, one of the key steps is really going from working in your business to working on your business. And that's really where most people will never accomplish that fully because that's where a lot of times you got to write things down. You've also got to um, be able to communicate and delegate, um, and you have to be able to analyze your business so you can work on it. So I'm going to play a quick commercial for my book just because I am actually putting out the second edition next Friday.
Yeah,
So
I'll pick up a
excited about
copy.
that. And yeah, and here's a quick 1-minute overview of sort of what it is, and then we'll come back talking small business with Skye Logan.
This is my most recent. It's not even available yet.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
The
Okay.
Masterpreneur Playbook.
Okay.
And really, we talked about is there's 5 steps
Yeah.
to growing your business.
Yeah.
And, really laying out what those steps are, but not only what the steps are, how do you transition through them? And, each stage, you have certain things, there's a certain challenge that you have to overcome.
Right.
There's a certain goal you have to achieve.
Right.
There's a certain role you have as a business owner.
Right.
There's a certain structure that you need to have within your business to support that role and move into the next role. So each step, I lay out what those things are.
Wonderful.
Because each one of those
Yep.
has a key skill that you have to have as the business owner. You have to evolve and continually learn, or you're going to get stuck. You can only go as far as you're prepared to take.
Okay, welcome back. I'm here with Skye Logan talking small business. We're focusing really on what you would call alignment so that you can have greater success now and in the future because what you put into place can benefit you and stays with you. So Skye, you talk about um, what you're doing and how you're leading it. Everybody would, a lot of people would like to have a business that can run without them or function without them pretty well, and you've been able to accomplish that. Um, what was your secret? What is it that you were able to do? You think that most people aren't able to do or haven't been able to do to be able to have the focus on your family and other things as well as have the business.
Yeah, I think that I'm lucky. I'm living a blessed life. And I guess that's a chicken way to give the answer. But, I think luck happens to hard workers. So I'm definitely not scared to work hard. and 7 days a week is not a problem for me for a while. For quite a while, bit of my life, it wasn't. Now it definitely isn't. So it's lifestyle design. I definitely have decided that, what kind of life do I want to live? And I absolutely I'm creating a company, a global movement, $1 billion global movement that is much bigger than me. And I find people who, it's easy to get people behind that, because I literally am, I'm working on poverty projects, human trafficking projects, cleaning up plastics, implementing one of our companies putting in an entire collection of recycling program for the country of Argentina, Nigeria, with the Minister of Environment there. We're doing huge projects. So one, it's think big. Anything that I involve myself in, it's not just small, like, hey, I want to clean up my neighborhood. Yeah, okay, that's on the list. But it's big projects. I'm going to involve myself with something. So it's bigger, much bigger than myself, and it's easy. And I find people who can align to that, and they're excited. I see it in their eyes, and they want to do something. And then just bring them into the fold, so to speak, and let them get on with it. And just let them run free like a black stallion. Just have at it, man. And give them some direction and steer them whenever that you might fall down, that kind of thing. But that is key. For me, it's easy. Other people, it's not so easy, because they might be doing some, not to put down other business stuff, but okay, it's e-com, or it's selling residential homes or whatever. It's it's good. You get people involved with that, and they're excited about that, and this and that. But my vision and my mission, I have a 50-year plan. I literally have written it out, and it takes me 20 years past probably the end of my life. And I intentionally did that, so I have a vision much past this body, and I think that's important, having something bigger than yourself.
Okay, no, that's a great point. Having something like that, how do you come up with that? And I guess it's internal, but it's also got to be external to a point. Is that something you do on your own? Is that something you do with your family, your leadership team? How does that come together? And who gives you feedback and guidance when you're doing stuff like that?
Yeah, all of it. Again, it's that alignment. I've shut out any distractions from this thing. Everything, my feed, everything is programmed to feed me what I want. Keeps me aligned to a better planet, global projects, on NGOs and nonprofits, and just I try to keep my ear to the ground on things that can be done. And if someone mentions, good, I'm here in Puerto Rico, I'm in a coffee shop, and I hear someone talking about a 100-acre solar farm project, that catches my interest. I'm like, hey, that's funny. I was working on that. Hi, I'm Skye Logan. Just spark up a conversation. Hey, I actually have a target here I want to make Puerto Rico a green island. Like, let's work together.
Yeah.
So
okay, and yeah, I mean, like you said, it draws people together. If you may have shared missions, or at least shared pieces of the mission, so that you can collaborate. I always talk to people. A lot of times, people want to start their own nonprofit, and I'm like, that's great, but there's probably a nonprofit that does what you do, and maybe you could do it better with them. So having partners is always key.
yeah.
So
And you have to find those. And you and I have already messed up before, I'm sure, with partners. I definitely have. I've screwed up big time, embezzled, all the company bank accounts emptied out, and losing properties. I've done that route. And yeah, and so you learn how to evaluate people, and who's the correct partners.
yeah, definitely, and it doesn't have to be even external partners. It can be helpful. So we talked about sort of your vision, your mission, alignment. Over time, we're saying that these things will help your business now and in the future. Um, how does it? What sort of time frame? So if people are doing these things, what kind of milestones are key? And you know, it's not an overnight thing, but what does it take to continue to do that so you're going to get the benefits, not just while you're doing it, but long into the future?
Yeah. Wow. Well, Andrew, I think you're probably the better one to answer that with your Masterpreneur Playbook, which I'll help put a plug there. But I should probably read that. I'm going to be buying my second edition. I'll get that copy too. So that's a lot of consulting, a lot of mentoring. There's no easy answer. You definitely have to sit down. The key principle, you have to sit down, and it has to be that personal dev. I absolutely work harder on myself than I do my company. If it's 5:30 in the morning, I am up and about. Next 2 hours, first 2 hours of the day is myself. And just then, and then later in the day as well. So you have to have that attention and always bettering yourself, because the better you get yourself, you're your best investment. So you definitely have to, I know I said that earlier, and I don't want to beat that bush too much, but it's absolutely key. My trajectory completely changed. My progress, my everything, my fun, my building, my capital raising, my everything changed with correctly aligning myself, correctly just fixing my head, man, getting my head right. And getting my head right, it got the company right, because I am the company. I am everything that I push down. And if I am askew, that is going to be askew. It's going to be a curveball going all the way down the line. And I just can't state that enough. And I think senior execs have to invest, and I know everyone probably is doing it already, but have to invest in mentoring, not just one, multiple. Like, I don't know how many I have, 6, 7, easily, paid, not paid, etc., in different areas of your life. And you have to get right. You have to get all these things, and your companies will absolutely treble in production, and it's their outreach, their reach. So there's that, and also your staff will see it. They will start bettering themselves. They'll start becoming happy. They start realizing, oh, I need to work on myself, and I just can't drag my butt to work and be a sourpuss and start spreading crap all over the place. You got to work on yourself, get your attitude right, get your energy right. They start seeing that, and you're seeing that you're excited, and it starts spreading like a virus. And so you really have to keep that energy high, make sure you're right. And you start pushing the correct messages down, making sure everyone understands what everyone's doing, and they're part of the team. Like, the team ain't going to make it unless you make it. You, Joe Schmo. And I need you on the, get off the bench and get in here and swinging, man, type of thing. So that makes them feel good. And, unfortunately, if they don't make it, fine. They just get them out, get the next guy in, type of thing. And you have a strong HR department that can hire and train and hat. My hatting is much better than most people's. I really make sure people understand and it really are cleared up on their product, the purpose. As I said, their statistics, their valuable final products, what they're doing for the whole group, et cetera, and a lot of understanding on that. And if they have a problem with it and they don't feel like they can produce that, it's known right from the get-go. Anyways.
Okay. No, that's great. So Michael Jackson kind of got it right. The person in the mirror is the one to focus on.
There you go, man.
Actually, my first book, Running Your Small Business Like a Pro, I think it's chapter 5, is called, Is It Me or Are My Employees Crazy? Because, a lot of times you'll blame your employees, but, it's your business. And if it's not working right, it's because of you, and you got to own it. I'm a big fan of Michael Gerber. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And like you said, he said, your business is a reflection of you. So if your business is if you're all over the place, your business is going to be all over the place. So, working on you is key. And the impact you have, you probably can't appreciate it as a business owner on your employees. Like if you say something that might not, it's not a big deal to you, they may take it and they might think it's a big deal to you and not focus on the things that are the big deal to you. So I think the alignment can help with that. So now,
you're right. You're, like you said, the devil's in the details. So your communication out constantly, and your energy. I mean, me walking into an office space and I'm sullen and I am fixed and I am serious can cause like crashed production for the entire day.
So no, definitely, they take their cues from you. So, and not from what you say, what you do, and who you are. So
there you go.
That's key. So what we usually do, like always, time flies when you're having fun. So we're right about at the hour, but always like to have guests share the top 3 things that people should take away from the conversation, because I found that people usually can't remember more than 3 things. So we talked about a lot of stuff. People can see the recording, but if you want to sum up, 3 key things people should take away and should really utilize starting tomorrow to help them be a better leader and help them move forward better with their organization. If you want, you can take a minute to say them, or if you're ready, we can go with it.
I'm ready.
Okay, so what are your top 3?
Yeah, my top 3 from this conversation is the top man to spend the time for his own personal development, for sure. Top man has got to be in the right mindset, for sure. Don't as you said, I loved it, Andrew. Don't blame your staff. Don't blame HR. Quit pointing fingers. You're the guy. If something's not going right in your company, you're the guy. You are doing something correct. That's the correct viewpoint to have. And 2, making sure that your team everyone really understands their production, what they're doing, and making them part of the goal setting and the games. So that's my 3rd thing. That is always increases production. I always excel in quarterly targets whenever there's games being played and they're part of that, setting the targets and playing the games. And I will spend tons of money to make that happen, because it's such more higher energy. It's a much more fun environment. You attract better personnel, everything. I just can't go on and on about how important that is. So that would be the key thing there.
Okay, great. So to sum it up, 1, develop yourself. You have to take time and focus on developing yourself first. Number 2, you got to own it. The buck stops with you. And number 3, really clear communications and inclusiveness. Does that sound pretty much in line with what you're sharing tonight?
Sounds great. Exactly.
Okay. Excellent. So it's been a pleasure. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight and sharing your expertise with a lot of experience with the audience.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Andrew. It was a pleasure being here.
Okay, excellent. So thanks for reaching out. Hang out for a minute. I'm just close things out and we'll go from there.
All right.
Okay, thanks. All right, everybody. Once again, we had another great guest. I always love having people on, being able to learn about them, their story, you know, their perspective. Even if we talk about and have an understanding of things, we each go in a different way. So always excited about that. Of course, next week we have our next show, and looking forward to next week. Next week, what we're going to be talking about is really focused on conflict. But not that conflict is bad, but it can actually be the yellow brick road to success, and how you can make negative conflict and turn it into positive conflict. So, next week we're going to do that. Our guest next week, sorry, our our guest next week is Dan Cicini, and he's a change agent, catalyst, and consultant. So he really going to share some things about conflict, and he goes into a lot of organizations and helps them go from a challenging environment of conflict to really having that as a process that helps them even be more successful. So looking forward to next week. Once again, at the end of the day, the more that you know, the faster and more successfully your business is going to grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.